Hi, this is Rob from FeiyuTech, and today I am reviewing the Vantrue N1. Vantrue sent me another dashcam to take a look at, and I've got to say I really like this little one. It's got good video quality in a compact and well-built package, and I would consider it a worthwhile option if you're in the market for a small dashcam. The N1 is quite well made, with metal build and springy buttons. It feels solid in the hand. It's about half the size of the R2 in any G1W. Its screen is tiny and only adequate for making sure your shot is lined up. Viewing angles aren't the greatest, and looking at the screen from the side causes the color to wash out. But to me, this is not a huge issue, as I don't plan to be constantly looking at the camera while I'm driving. Despite being compact, the silver trim and the way it hangs from its mount isn't as discreet as other all-black dashcams. I'll probably end up painting this camera black just so it isn't as easily seen. The mounting hardware it includes is quite solid as well. It is Vantrue's standard mount, with a built-in USB port and a ball head so that you can adjust the camera's angle. Daylight video quality with this camera is on par with other AR0330 cameras. It is sharp throughout the entire frame, with accurate color and exposure. The frame rate is smooth and retains enough detail to read most street signs and license plates. I've tested 5 dashcams to date, and this camera is on the higher end of video quality from the bunch. To see what I mean, take a look at this comparison. In the fading light, this camera's video quality still holds strong. I do notice a bit of noise, but most detail is retained even if the camera weights exposure a little on the bright side. Frame rate stays smooth, and though some license plates are rendered unreadable, I find it's a little bit better quality than the other cameras I have, mostly in terms of the color balance. At night, the N1 also holds up pretty well, but it's not the best camera I've tested. In situations where there is still a little bit of light, for example the glow of city lights or a sunset, I found the camera is able to retain decent color and exposure. Compared to my G1W, which has the same sensor in a different package, you can see that there is still a little bit more light on the horizon with the N1. But the story changes in pitch darkness. The N1 has more contrast at the expense of losing detail in its shadows that the G1W is able to retain. When comparing the exact same scene to the R2, it's clear that the R2 is able to take in more light. City driving is this camera's stronger suit. For the country, it may be wise to look for something with a little bit brighter sensor and/or wider aperture. Audio from this camera is quite good. Here's a sample.
Hi, this is Rob from FeiyuTech, and this is what the dashcam sounds like at about 90 kilometers per hour. So this is what the Vantrue dashcam sounds like going about 30 kilometers per hour. As you can hear, it's significantly clearer than any other dashcam video I've shown before.
The microphone tends to be a bit on the quiet side, but what it does record is clear with a good tonal range. It's not a professional mic by any means, but it is still better than the muffled tin can type microphones found on other dashcams I've tested. When it comes to still images, the N1 can't take photos on its own. I've always found still images from dashcams a bit of a silly concept anyways. At the point where I'm able to get out of the car and manipulate the camera to take photos, I'd rather just use my phone. But one cool feature this camera has is that it will screenshot the video while recording if the camera button is pressed. This is great for when I see something cool that I want to capture without having to review all the footage at a later time. The main reason why I knocked half a star off from this camera was some minor usability issues. They are things that can likely be fixed with a firmware update that I made Vantrue aware of during my testing. The first is that if you power on the camera and then cut the power to the camera while it is still starting up, the camera will shut down and fail to record. If your vehicle is like mine and cuts USB power while it is starting, this could be a problem. I found that I had to wait an extra second while starting my vehicle to ensure that the camera had adequate time to power up before power was cut. It is a very specific timing issue, and for the most part, once I got used to the timing, I didn't have to worry anymore. The second thing I noticed is a bit of an odd one and something I can't really reproduce. Part of my testing is to mash buttons on the device to see how it would hold up to someone who doesn't know a thing about technology. I managed to change a bunch of the settings on the camera this way, and that made the video basically unusable. Essentially, it upped the exposure and turned off the record on start, and these options aren't even listed in the main menu to set back to normal. After resetting the camera's functions overall though, all was well, but it's worth noting that these settings are not easily accessible to fix if you do happen to change them somehow like I did. I tested the parking mode on this camera with it connected to a USB battery pack, and from what I can see it works fine. I believe it does have to be manually enabled though. The user interface of this camera is fairly straightforward too, and slightly better designed than other AR0330 cameras. Unfortunately, certain settings are missing, such as exposure compensation, but I found that the exposure was good enough I didn't need to change it anyways. Overall, the Vantrue N1 is a viable camera with good overall video quality, a great build, and quality mounting hardware. It's a camera to take into consideration if you are in the market for a compact dashcam. Visit DJI for more reviews and other content. Thanks for watching.